I think it is going outside, if you can, yeah. I'm sure over the last couple of, yesterday and today, you had seen few presentations, few technology talks, and have had the opportunity to kind of look at how the innovation is happening in the industry, and particularly in the mechanical, marine, aerospace, and aeronautical and automobile industry. So, one thing for sure, if we want to succeed, we have to embrace the future. Change is something that is happening every day. And how much change we will visit, how fast the changes are happening, and how we can get prepared for it. Let us move to the next slide. So, as we see here, change gives a chance. So, let us be ready for it. That is going to be my theme. That is why I called it as embracing the future, because we need to be ready for the next 2 decades. Industry is going through, oh, okay, yeah. Do I need this or can I talk? I talk reasonably loud. Am I audible without this? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello. Okay, that is fantastic. I will talk loud. Industry is going through a lot of changes. In the last several years, it has been really transformative changes. And what is the catalyst for the change? Catalyst for the change has been the innovations that are mainly as an impact out of that came from the information technology. IT has been a motive, has been the prime mover of a lot of innovations in mechanical, marine, aerospace, and aeronautical. I was asking Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde. We work at companies like Boeing, etc. So normally what comes to me is aerospace. So mechanical engineers and the engineers, when we think in terms of core engineering, I did not include civil, electrical, and electronics here because the audience is mechanical and. But we do provide something that is required for everyday life, for every day. If you think it really, IT is nothing but a service to these industries. I'll just start with one example. We have an employee, Microsoft is the name of our company. I'm not promoting the thing, but I'm just saying to you as an example. We have a person who was a syndicate bank manager, who is working right now, one of the highly accomplished computer science person. How it is possible? Expertise has to come from the mechanical engineers. And so there is always a need for good mechanical engineers. There is always a good need for any engineering, particularly for mechanical, automobile, marine, and aeronautical engineering, particularly because let us look at how we are positioned right now. India is positioned to be the next manufacturing hub of the world. You have to be a little bit aware about I'm sure you are aware of the geopolitical situation, how India is, how the government emphasis is there for the manufacturing industry, and the incentives the government is giving for the manufacturing industry. We'll look at some of the challenges and all that also towards the end. But the thing is, there is a lot of change, there is a lot of dynamism, there is a lot of young potential engineers coming out of the university. who used to be working, he was a civil engineer, but he was, at his free time, he was putting together an aeroplane. And he could get, this is, I'm speaking about 1990s, and he was putting it together, and I went one day to his place and looked at it. He was doing it in his backyard. Those kind of things are also possible for you right now here. Those things are quite possible. Look at how aeronautical industry is progressing right now. If you go to any airport, it is more like the bus stand right now nowadays. Anyway, let us go to, so the benefits are there, so we need to harness. How you can harness, how you can be ready, has to come from the institutions, from the academia, and from your own self-study. There is always a little bit of a difference when you think in terms of the real life. Academics slightly lags from the industry. Innovations do come from the universities. Stanford, MIT, etc. gives the technology. For example, Livermore Lab. A lot of innovations come, but real adoption of that has to be whether the industry needs it, industry takes it, and otherwise, patent is a patent in the paper, right? Okay. So change is inevitable. IT is a catalyst. I'm not going to be reading it from there, but yeah, okay. To emphasize the need for the change and to embrace the change, look at the way industrial revolution has progressed. Somewhere in around 70, the first phase, we call it as Industry 4.0 right now, because I'm sure that this has been taught. Industry 4.0 is probably started around 2011, 2012 period probably. And what started in 2000, in the 18th century, when the Industry 1.0 was very basic. It took a long time to jump to Industry 2.0, when you had the assembly lines, the car manufacturing, the Detroit car manufacturing, etc. You have to picturize that. Industry 3.0, somewhere in the 1970, 1980, during that period when the computers started running. And right now, Industry 4.0. What is Industry 4.0? I'm sure you will know. IoT, industrial IoT, smart manufacturing, additive manufacturing, which is 3D, nothing but 3D printing, robotics, all this put together, and the internet, the AIML, machine learning, where you need not really have the machines can learn and you need not be daily programming, you can improvise. So that is Industry 4.0. But the people are already talking about Industry 5.0. So the change is pretty fast-paced now, for which we should be ready. Okay, let us look at some of the trends in the core engineering, core mechanical engineering, smart manufacturing. I will give you, nothing to distinguish between one stream from another stream, but let us take two examples. Let us take a small machine shop. In a small machine shop, he still uses solid graphics or some kind of a CAD programming to do the design. And I'm speaking of a niche sheet metal working place, which some of you might be able to start. I visited a factory, a small factory set up in Bangalore day before yesterday, and he does the power distribution systems for electric vehicles. The input is around 1,200, and you have various elements, various units in the EV, electric vehicle, wherein the power distribution has to be based on the need. It is very complex. Probably it is made for somebody else. But it was tested, and that was ready to be sent abroad. That was it was done one by name Jairam Udupan Kaurige, which is only one leg. I was really, really impressed with what he does. So There also people are using CAD. They may not be using all the Industry 4.0 because of the scale. If the scale is there, certainly that would have been there. Let us take rather, let us think of a big shipbuilding docks, maybe Cochin shipyard or something. You have to picture this. So you have the assembly line, and the ship is built, divided into blocks. And in the blocks, each block, they are going to be doing kind of a parallel engineering or collaborative working. Everywhere you will do the welding, and you have the gantries, robots are mounted on the gantries, and there is welding going to be done. Maybe 3D, maybe, earlier, several years back, all our ships were being built in Russia, USSR. Right now we have progressed a lot. And we can probably do it at half the cost. And after each individual block is completed, then it is brought together. So the piping, ducting, everything is done in the parts. Then ultimately there is one more welding to be done, one more joining to be done. That is how the big, large docking yards work. The difference between a small place or a medium place, you have CNC machines, lathes, everything. But the thing is how sophisticated it is. Probably in a smaller shop it is 3.0 still, whereas US and other countries are going towards 5.0. I just wanted to draw the distinction. Okay. Now, collaborative engineering. As I said, it is very, now shared working is very common. It makes it faster, efficient, knowledge sharing is, everything is on the cloud. Do I need to say everything in detail? Probably this way is good, right? So collaborative working is helping the industry in and has a lot of impact in the new developments. Let us think about digital twin. Digital twin. If you can have, see, the modeling and CAD and computer-aided manufacturing. The modeling, simulation to avoid the errors, the design flaws, etc. is a blessing. You would agree with me? Right now, for example, even the crash tests are being done, being done in the simulated environment. It has progressed so much. So the industry demands it. Sorry, consumer demands it. Industry can deliver. So, for example, I will give you one more example. You would have seen Camry. Camry may not be that common here. Camry. Innova car was there on the road for almost 10 years. It didn't change. So, maybe there was a minor here and there kind of change. But the thing is, now you are seeing probably the change in the models once in every 2 years. Why? We have the avoiding of the testing, the endurance test, the crash test, different type of testing that is required, different kind of materials that are possible, different kind of process and engineering that is aided by the computer technology and the IT. It is just, and sales and distribution. All this put together, now you have models hitting once in 2 years. It is much faster. There is consumer demand, industry can provide, and it provides more employment for everybody. We should all be happy about it. Digital twin, I did not address completely. Digital twin is nothing but, as you know, is a virtual replica of the physical machine. So, if you want to do simulation, if you want to do monitoring, if you want to upgrade, if you want to refine the process, you do it in the digital twin and link it to the mail. And then take the data, and once again for the AI ML, how digital twin works is, you take the data. There is a lot of data available from the monitoring and from the IoT devices and all that. And that large data can be compiled together. you can run the algorithms, you can do the analytics on that, and you can provide, you can take care of the predictive, and that helps in the predictive maintenance. Once you have that ability, the downtime and the errors are much, much less. That is what is digital twin. Composite engineering, composite materials have been one of another main, the impact of composite materials in mechanical, aeronautical engineering, etc. I'll just give you a couple of examples. For example, if you look at the SUVs right now, even in India, the back door, probably back door, bumper, all this is made of composite materials. In some cases it is because of the convenience, in some cases it is because of the lightweight. Carbon fibers applied in layers, or in fact once in a while it is even sprayed in layers. So it makes it easy, adaptable, and easy to work, lightweight. For example, if you think in terms of the aeronautical industry, shapes under high pressure, temperature, withstanding materials that can withstand high pressure, temperature, etc. are there. So you can, the lightweight, durability, flexibility, stiffness, etc. are much improved, and you can monitor it as you go along. 3D printing, that is not here, but 3D printing has been there since quite some time. The most recent advances on that is including the metal, not only the thermoplastics. So you can have copper, you can have steel, you can have gold, you can have silver. These are possible not only along with the thermoplastics and the combination. That is where it really can produce parts not only for simulation but for the actual world also. So that is in the 3D area, the most recent advances have been in how to put together different components together, different materials. So you put it in layers, and the error, possibility of errors is much smaller, and that is one of the elements of the 4.0, Industry 4.0, or manufacturing, the smart manufacturing. Connected and autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles may not be a thing in USA or in the European countries. Autonomous vehicles are not very common, but they are testing on the roads. Google is doing it, Apple is doing it, Tesla is doing it, NIO is doing it. I have personal experience of working both at Tesla and NIO. Our engineers are working at Tesla and NIO. Tesla is in the forefront, in fact. We are not, obviously, certain things it is such a big thing we may not be knowing, but the thing is, if you think of a diesel or an internal combustion engine car, you have about 30,000 parts, or diesel powered car. When it comes to the electric vehicles, in an electric car, you probably have about 15,000 parts. If you look at the moving parts, you have about 200 to 2,000, varies from car to car, or automobile to automobile, or vehicle to vehicle. 200 to 2,000 parts are in other vehicles, whereas electric vehicles, there are only, for example, in Tesla models, etc., it is only 18 in number. You can just imagine how easy it would be to maintain. I have an electric car, I have a Tesla car. So there is no oil change, there is no maintenance. You have the convenience, and you have the comfort feeling of not throwing the carbon footprint on the world, and you are also comforted by the feeling that you are not spending that much money for all running errands and all that. So electric cars are here, autonomous vehicles are here. Electric vehicles save, the battery technology is still progressing, but still a blessing for the environment. Let us go to the hybrid technology, hydrogen fuel environment, and including the submarines, they are experimenting and using hybrid technology and EMF for moving. Hydrogen technology, for example, countries like India, they are really thinking, I think the federal government is thinking really of hydrogen fuel cells also as a hybrid technology for automobile. So let us look at the changes that are happening right now. I just made a list. You can read it for yourself, but certain things that I want to point out is automation is there in production line, automation and smart manufacturing has reduced the downtime and the connectivity between machine to machine and the ability to gather the data from the machines, complex systems, and analyze them and avoid the errors, prediction maintenance, etc. need not be repeated. 3D printing, we did talk about it. Robotics, mechanical engineers design, develop, manufacture, and maintain the robots. It is not only the robotic, when you think in terms of robotic processes, robotic industry, it is not only the use and the software. 90% of the thing is mechanical engineering right there. I will give you, it comes to my mind to speak about one specific thing. For example, Mysore, they are thinking in terms of chip manufacturing, right, in Mysore. I think the investment is going to be $3 billion, and it is going to be a chip manufacturing semiconductor factory in Mysore. 90% of the workforce that is required there would be engineers with the core engineering, civil, mechanical, you name it, electronics and all that. There is effluent treatment to all the factory building, starting from civil, there would be a lot of work. So this is the way India is today. So therefore the mechanical engineering stream need not be thinking whether I would have a job, whether if I am a good engineer, whether I still would have a job and all that. So mechanical engineering is, because you are young and looking forward for the future, I'm just saying, as long as we adapt, there is always good jobs out there. Nanotechnology, artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machines have started talking to each other. Machines do talk. For example, I probably missed it in the car when I was speaking. If your Honda Civic car can start speaking to ambassador car, that is the ideal world. That is something that is required. Then only you will be able to avoid the collisions and all that. I will just give you one more example. See, we do a lot of imaging work. So much of repetitive work happens in this machine learning to create the back end, you may not believe it. I have seen it with my own eyes. An elephant, you know the blind man's story of different sites for an elephant, right? In the same way, hundreds of pictures of even of a dog. See, for example, if this is lying on the road, car can go on top of it in the road. If you have a cell phone, you can go on top of it. But if there is a human being, a car, cow, a car or something, it has to identify what is there. So how do they do it? They create the backend intelligence for that by creating several, so many pictures have to be tagged as this is a car, this is a car, this is a car, this is a car, this is a car. Or this is an elephant, this is an elephant, this is a cow, this is a cow, this is a cow. So when you have 100 cow pictures there, the 111th, 101st cow, when it really appears there, the system will identify that as the cow and will take in the perception time is only 3 seconds when you're driving. So it will make the adjustments, it will calculate and say whether there is something parallel coming in the parallel lane or whether I can go that way. What is its time, when it will come. So basically depending upon the perception time, it should be able to decide. So if something small is lying there, it can that is the input for the machine learning later on. And then the system machine, that is the AI backend. Now the AI backend, later on the machine starts learning and doing, that is part of the machine learning process. So now with the Internet of Things, the data gets aggregated and systems start talking to each other and improvising further. That is the machine learning part. ADAS, for example, the first thing in the ADAS, I just wanted to tell you a small story. There were several accidents in the USA where father would be driving back in the car, and in the driveway children or somebody might be playing and there were accidents, even including killing of children. So ADAS features, you know, you would have seen in present cars, the backing of the car is always seen. So that started, that is one of the features of ADAS features. So when you are a user, as a mechanical engineer, you are a user, you are a visionary, you have to think about it and you have to implement it. It is only the service that is provided by the IT. Marine, for example, underwater robotics, remotely operated vehicles required for security of the country. Predictive maintenance, a big thing to prevent downtime in the marine engineering field. Aeronautical, see, for example, in in the beginning of 2000, we were working on for something called Dreamliner. Dreamliner is 787s. You would have heard in a Boeing, the 787 is called the Dreamliner. We used something called WebLogic to integrate all the things, all whatever was happening in the airline itself. So that, see, the airline industry makes profit only when it is flying, not when it is on the ground. So the idea was to collect as much information and send it to the next place where the plane would be landing, so that they would be ready if there has to be some kind of a maintenance. The thing is, it is an enabler. IT there is an enabler. The data and all the information that is collected is mechanical. So if there is a mechanical engineering with the knowledge of WebLogic, we would have been much better. Our production time, our delivery time, the project would have been finished much easier. That was my feeling at that time. I'm just saying how mechanical engineers can, by learning new technologies, we will go through that. How you can be a better engineer, how you can shape, how you can contribute, how you can become very successful. Okay. IT penetration into core engineering. This is something for you to think. See, I have added here, I can send it to one of the, I will send this presentation. I have not captured everything. I had limited amount of time, so sorry I could not complete the whole list. But these are some of the things that you can really learn. I do not know how much is taught in the colleges or in the academia, but these are something that can be learned. 3D modeling is, SolidWorks is fundamental, basic, CAD, is being used by everybody nowadays. CATIA is a slightly improvised version that is used for PLM, product life cycle management, design and all that. CATIA is being used in several companies. For example, we have several CATIA engineers working in Tesla and NIO. There is one more factory, company called NIO who makes electric cars. Product data management and life cycle management, NOVIA. Do they teach NOVIA or D-Center or any of these software in the schools nowadays? Okay. Digital manufacturing, visual components, etc. Let us think about ERPs. SAP. SAP is that is called Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP. ERP has been implemented in almost all major manufacturing and automobile industries, including in India. You may not believe it. There is a factory called, there is a small place called Bindu who does the drinking water. I know the owner, he's from Puttur. Bindu is a water bottle. Okay, right now they have several other things. I myself went and asked him whether he had called me to implement SAP. For example, Camco in India has probably implemented SAP. We went there, we could not get the work, but TCS got the work. So SAP is something that is already integrated. As I said right in the beginning, SAP, our main SAP person is a banker. He was a syndicate bank manager. What prevents mechanical engineers from learning? You should be the cook. You should not be only the person who eats the food. You should be the cook. The functional knowledge that you have already acquired will come in very, very handy, and that is, you need not be then thinking that this is complex, I cannot do it. Look at the modules. SAP has materials management, SD, sales and distribution, production planning, PP. Then there are other modules also, FICO, finance and control and all that. But the thing is, mostly being implemented in the manufacturing and in the production lines. So SAP, there is of course Oracle apps are there, then the Microsoft Dynamics is being used in some places. But SAP is one of the most prominent one out of the ERPs. If you want to get job. SCADA PLC, for example, some of the companies I have identified here, Siemens, Schneider, Rockwell, these are the companies that you should think, and they all have implemented these technologies. SAP we went through, robotics, Internet of Things. It is here to stay, and it is, for example, your thermostat at home can be one of the simplest examples of an Internet of Things. In car, probably there are more than 200 sensors in a good car right nowadays. So whether it is temperature control, whether it is the speed control, how to apply, of course, obviously there is cyber security threat, etc., that you have to deal with when you have so many sensors and IoT devices in a car or any vehicle. But the thing is, you are making not only life more comfortable, but you are also making sure that the safety is improved by Internet of Things and the downs. Supply chain management. Any questions on this? Or some of the I identified this Industry 3.0 and Industry 4.0. Industry 3.0, India is still lagging in this in some of the areas. So Industry 3.0 is where we are in terms of the first few, but the rest probably, because they are big, for example, IBM, Schneider, Siemens, etc., are multinational companies. That is why they have already implemented Industry 4.0. Any questions on how the industry is going towards what is happening and all that? If you have any questions, you can ask me. I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge. I will give you one more example. How it is, IoT is helping. This is not to once again pat on the back, but you should know what is happening in the industry. That is what I am saying. There is a company called Yearable. Yearable is doing the Internet of Things in the farming area. We are doing right now. What do? Yearable, as the name itself suggests, is doing the moisture control and other things for farming. A lot of data comes, and they have their devices which are reasonable in cost that are put in the farm in various places. They collect the data, and then that is analyzed. Half the engineers working at Yearable are mechanical engineers. We ourselves have a couple of mechanical engineers working on contract at Yearable. So Yearable does provide farming technologies for USA, South America, where the farms are much larger. What are our challenges? I have just to put the challenges for India. Economics of scale. You cannot implement Industry 4.0 or bring the smart manufacturing and say this is all good. Everywhere it may not be applicable. In a niche shop or in a sheet metal workplace, Industry 4.0 may not be necessary. But the thing is, simple things like your CAD or computer-aided manufacturing, that can be implemented, because once you are done with the simulation, testing and the planning, after the 3D modeling is done, modeling, simulation, etc. is being done even in the smallest places using nowadays SolidWorks or one of the softwares that is available for CAD, through CAD. Once that is done, later on for then the additional things that we discussed about the testing, starting from the crash testing, you can do a lot of testing using simulation now. Once that is done, for the manufacturer also you can do, because once you go into the production, you are doing multiple units of the same thing. I'll give you one example of where we are using right now. For example, we are doing some work for a company called FedEx. FedEx transports shipments, courier service. There are a lot of aeroplanes for FedEx. FedEx transports batteries also, lithium-ion batteries. In a passenger aircraft, you have less likelihood of it catching smoke. Whereas if you have the battery in where people sit in the cargo, there is a higher likelihood. So it is a mandated thing. So there is a smoke event. Whenever there is a smoke event, the driveway, if it happens somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic or something, it is God only has to say. But if it is near an airport or it is already in the airport, you can save many times. You can save it. You can save the pilot, and you can save the plane by bringing it to your heart. How you can then you should be able to see. So we have a device using AR and VR technology, wherein you have a glass that you can put it. It goes inside the oxygen mask, because if there is a smoke event, the first thing the oxygen mask is something first thing. It is on the right side of the pipe. So inside the oxygen mask, you can put that glass by which you can see what is outside. So this is something very small. So you need not be always thinking in terms of the big thing when it comes to the aeronautical industry. There are much smaller. There are probably thousands of parts. There must be 10,000 parts in an aeroplane. Actually, Boeing does, most of whatever Boeing does in USA is nothing but assembly. So that is where PLM, etc. comes into play. So for India, economics of scale. But right now, let us think of HAL. They are making right now helicopters, light helicopters, either by offset contract or something. They are doing helicopters, vertical take, drones, etc. are being manufactured by HAL. Statutory regulations of India, higher cost of finance. In India, the cost of finance is much higher than other countries. You can get investment is much easier in a country like USA or advanced countries. The incentives are much higher. Taxes and duties. Government has been trying to regularize and do it much more systematic. And bureaucracy and multiple clearances, good research. Good research, yeah, we are doing it. And then, learning the skills. Time limit, anything? Any time limit? Bridging the gap between the industry, I just wanted to bring it up because we are in a school environment. So the academia and the collaboration between the universities and the colleges and the industry is always good. The reason is the research happens in the universities. Later on it goes to the field. So challenges, large investment, and student attrition after training. Big thing that is happening. Whosoever is an IT person, you would have seen in our lifetime, we were not changing jobs so frequently as today. I worked for Larsen & Toubro. I stayed with Larsen & Toubro until the very last day here in India. And I worked now, you know, you would have friends who would be jumping jobs at every year. That affects companies. Companies invest a lot in training, and then if they lose, it affects them. There may be, you know, one more thing, I do not know how many courses are being taught. In engineering, probably you would be doing about 50 courses, sir? 50, 200 credits, then approximately, if you think in terms of each subject being 4 credits or 3 credits. 3 credits or 4 credits? Equal 4. You know, maybe about 10 might be too much to ask from the industry, from the academy, but at least the 5 courses, and you should be able to you should be able to get in the universities and the colleges. That makes you ready for the job. See, what does an employer want? An employer wants a person who is productive from day one. Whether it is government, whether it is private, public, you take anybody. People do not want a person who is uncooked, who is unprepared. So you are much better off by being ready for the job. It is not complex. It is not complex. Because these are tools. These are tools. Overcome that mindset. If me being a civil engineer can be starting a software industry, right? Some company in software, I'm not saying I'm hugely successful, but the thing is, it is the present generation which is born with the mobile phones can easily do it. So it is not something that cannot be done. The adoption and liking and how I can innovate myself will decide the future. In industry, any companies and employees and engineers will have to educate themselves, have to experiment, have to learn and innovate. That is the first slide where the chance is created whenever there is a change. Okay. Let us look at some of the indigenous success stories of India, for example. You know, and that also will give you an idea of where you can get a job. So I just wanted to list some of them. Electric vehicles. Ather, Ola, Tata Tigor. Probably you would have seen Tigor, right? Electric vehicle probably goes about 200 kilometers or so in one charge. If anybody is a commuting type of a person, it is an ideal car. It is a 4-seater. I have driven, I have looked at it. Good quality is good. Ather is a 2-wheeler, right? Scooter only, yes. Vande Bharat trains, integral coach factory. In 2016, they floated an RFQ. It was an outside international RFQ. Did not succeed. So many countries participated in that RFQ to make about, I think it was, thing was about 5,000 coaches to be made. And nobody could succeed. Later on, I forget the name of the person, Integral Coach Factory, South Indian name, he said, we can do it. So they started, and it was called earlier, it was called Train 18 because that was built in 18 months, and they started or ended in 2018. So it was called Train 18, Vande Bharat Express train, when they started the program. Now, ergonomically designed, more efficient train, more efficient. Integral Coach Factory has built it. I think around 1,150 seats, and it has engines on both sides. Reduces the changing of operations and all that. What else? It is, you would have seen how Vande Bharat thing, and now they are thinking of Vande Metro, I guess, right? And for about 100 kilometers close by cities. Like, for example, if it is between Mangalore to Udupi, probably it's possible. In the same way, Hyderabad to Secunderabad, Noida to Delhi. Vande Bharat, not Vande Metro. That was all Integral Coach Factory built it under Make in India initiative, which was started by the government since 2000. It was in 2018. Metro trains, Vemal is building, and that is being used in Bangalore, and several cities are coming up with metro. Light combat vehicles, light helicopters, IJT, that is the training jets. HAL is building it, in aeronautical engineers. Take a look. Then when it comes to the defense, think about defense. India should be a net exporter of defense. We have been always one of the big importer of defense equipment, and think about the spend. Last couple of years, since last few years, India has been exporting defense equipment, light combat vehicles, artillery-proof defense systems, trucks and other things for other countries. Bharat Forge, Kalyani group is doing it, I guess. So artillery by Kalyani, artillery-proof and mounted with combat weaponry also. They are making it. Shipbuilding, Cochin INS series, INS Vikrant and all that. There is at least a portion of that is indigenous. Submarines, once again, Mazagon Docks is right now doing one. And in all of them, there is hybrid technology that is going in place for as a prime mover. And the data collection and analytics to prevent the downtime in submarines, in shipping industry, in the marine industry, very common nowadays. And again, I urge everybody to be ready to the future by innovating, by studying some of the new technologies. Make it yours. Employment is not difficult as long as you are ready. Otherwise, for example, earlier, Infosys and all these companies were coming and taking even mechanical engineers. Right now, the supply is there for computer science, so they do not take mechanical engineers and start training in Mysore. But the thing is, they also need embedded system engineers are in great demand. PLM, PLC, NOVIA, CATIA, design engineers. There is always a very good demand for these engineering specialists. And having the functional experience and functional knowledge is always much more easier to understand than somebody, a computer science person, will not be able to understand what is a jet propulsion engine or something like that. Think about it. There is a lot of, when we think in terms of jet propulsion, there is innovation happening in that area itself. Any questions to me? Sir? No, if you have any questions.
Yeah, this question pertains, my name is Vivek, I teach in the department. My question is this, since I am also involved in placements, one of the things that I have to convince my students is having them to learn skills that are outside their area. And there's always a pushback from the students saying that it's not in the syllabus, it's not marine engineering. How would you address that from somebody who's been in quite a few industries? Civil is your core domain, but that's not what you do right now. And as an entrepreneur and somebody who's seen other people in other industries all over the world, how can students get out of that mindset of looking at things not in a silo? Because I find that everything is in a silo.
Yeah, exactly.
How can they get out of this silo?
No, nothing straightforward to answer. It is something that is internal. It is something that we should. If you want to do something better, you should always think beyond, out of the box. you should always think out of the box, how I can do it better. What is innovation? Questioning the status quo. If you are able to question the status quo and say, I'm going to be better, I'm going to get a job. Start thinking positively. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to be well paid. You know, in meditation and thing, people start always thinking in terms of the positive reinforcement, right? It should start within. First of all, you should think I should do better than the previous person. How I can innovate, how I can question the status quo, how I can change. And if there is something that is good out of the curriculum that is already taught, that is already there in the books and in the whatever is being taught, it is good. Try to absorb. Your brain is like a sponge. If you expose yourself, you will learn. It is not difficult. It is not difficult at all. If a dumb person like me can, you know, everybody can. And I did not come from mechanical engineering. I came from civil engineering. And I worked in civil engineering for some time, but I always kept my eyes open. And see, during our times, we had to study 5 years in engineering. Look at that way. Now it is 4 years. Everything is cramped. So think about that 1 year as something that you can invest for the future for yourself. There are holidays, there are semester and months together. Go to somewhere, study this software if it is not taught in the school. And it will help in your own research. If you are doing any master's program or even if you are for project work, etc., it will help a lot. MATLAB, for example. You know, I probably missed speaking about it because it is such a wide area, so I didn't know what to speak and all that. But I just wanted to give a flavor of how industry smart manufacturing is happening everywhere. If we are ready, the only thing that we should be doing is we should be ready to accept it. Once we are ready, the world is out there and the universe will give it to us. Employment is not difficult. Employment comes only when you are ready. And much more easier for the newer generation to absorb the new technologies than the older generation. And see, for example, the leapfrog for India itself. Earlier, during our time, getting a landline connection was very difficult. People jump nowadays, even if you go to a flower selling vendor or somebody who is selling fruits or somebody who is climbing the tree has a cell phone in his hand. So the data in India is so cheap. 1 GB of mobile data is about 12 rupees. Earlier it was around 8 rupees. Now it is about 12 rupees probably. It works out in India. Right? 19 rupees. Okay. Whereas in the USA it is about close to about $7. Think about how many times 7 multiplied by 80, you know, for a approximate number. In some countries it is even much higher. The only country that is even probably cheaper than India in terms of mobile, the data is Israel. Israel is probably about 6 cents or something. That is about 5 rupees, you know, in that range. Israel is doing very well. That is why they have much more penetration of cell phones and in farming, and you know they have to, obviously they need to do it for their own existence. That is there. But the thing is, mobile data is very cheap in India, and right now we are in the cusp of a change. India is a very dynamic country. Think about the average age of Indians right now, 25 years. In USA it is probably about 55. In Japan it might be 60. Even in China it is probably around 40, 45. So there is a dynamism in India, the geopolitical situation. Think always like this. Think of USA, China and India. How we can be USA and how we can avoid the pitfalls that China did. Think about the pollution. If you create an industry and start spoiling our waters and the environment and start throwing things, it is not good. So if you can avoid it, and if you can avoid the carbon footprint, If you can avoid the fossil fuel burning, that is fantastic. That is how our future factories should be. That is where your thought process should be. You may not be the complete doer of everything, but you can be the cog in the wheel. That itself is a great contribution. That itself is a great contribution. Anything else, sir? Any students, any questions? I would give an award of 2,000 rupees. There is any interesting question or anything? Provided, sorry, I cannot give it now because I left the person in the principal's room. I had done this earlier. You can set up the field. I went to Mysore and I spoke on the civil engineering. There I was much more conversant. I knew the subject well. I could take the questions from the students. I said, ask me any question and I will give you 2,000. And then I took 3,000 rupees from them. 3 questions from them and I asked 3 questions. One girl from somewhere from Mangalore area got 2 awards. So, if there is any question from any student, I would be happy to answer, if I can. You should not think, this is something very important to the students. You should not think, I am not in an IIT. I am not in Vishweshwaraya VT. I am not in UVC, number 1 school, number 2 school. Knowledge and experience is flat now. Knowledge is available. Information is available everywhere. I did my schooling in, my mother would call our place as Andaman because there was no connectivity at all to the outside world. So we had to walk almost about 5-6 miles to go to high school. And we had to cross Netravati river on the boat and all that. And compared to that, right now it is much more sunny, much more easy. You have almost all the facilities. Only thing is, once in a while, what happens is, probably I can think of, the labs that you have in the school may not be as good as in the industry because there is probably. But one thing is, if you are doing that internships, etc., with the industry, that is where you can really think and really get some good feel for how the industry is doing. Other than that, I do not have any additional things to say today. Dr. Shankar, it has been a privilege and sharing some experience, sharing some information. It is always, I'm happy to do that. And today is one such opportunity. I'm very grateful to you guys and thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, sure.
Sir, what are the benefits we get if industries collaborate with the universities? How do you do it?
Oh. If the industry collaborates with the universities, first thing is employment for the engineers who participate in the project. Number 2, you can probably get some of the machinery and the tools that are required. For example, if you work at, let us say, Srinivasa Institute, starts having a relationship with the HAL. HAL then gives you the access to the software, the tools, their labs and all that, which is very beneficial to the universities. And then exposure to students to the projects. And learning of new things.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a wonderful wonder. Can we all give him a big hand, please? It's not very often that we get people from the industry, entrepreneurs, engineers, who have worked with technologies that are quite outside the scope of what we are teaching. And I think the insights of what you have told would make them better engineers. And thank you so much for coming. But sir, please, we will, after this, we will be having the formal function. Could you please?
Hello. Hello. Hello, my chick. Hello. Hello, my chick. Hello.
Hey, correct. What you told is right. Where is that big one? Everyone kindly rise as the dignitaries have arrived. I would now request Dr. Lokeshwi to please escort the dignitaries to the dais. Thank you, everyone. Kindly take your seat. Good afternoon. I, Vivek Vijay Kumar, will be your master of ceremonies for today. I welcome everyone to the valedictory function of the International Conference on Recent Trends in Mechanical Sciences, organized jointly by the Departments of Mechanical, Automobile, Aeronautical and Marine Engineering at Srinivas Institute of Technology, Valachil. Today, as the stars align in cosmic routine, it's a delightfully rare moment for me as the master of ceremonies to welcome this fantastic gathering. Before we proceed, I would first like to seize this moment to wholeheartedly welcome our esteemed patron and principal, Dr. Srinivasa Maya D. As a leader, Dr. Maya epitomizes the essence of excellence and unwavering dedication to our college community. It is with very deep respect and admiration that we extend our warmest welcome to you, sir. Your presence is truly appreciated. I would also love to welcome our keynote speaker and the chief guest for today's valedictory function, Shri Venkat A. Bhatt, the President CEO of VentureSoft Global Link. Thank you, sir, for being here and giving us the keynote address. Allow me to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, the conference chair for Rtimes 23. Dr. Hegde is not only a remarkable academician, but also a true perfectionist, embodying a rare combination of qualities. He has served as our guiding star and beacon in the cosmos for providing us with an unwavering direction and dependability. It's with immense honor and gratitude that we welcome you, sir. Furthermore, it gives me even greater pleasure to extend a heartfelt welcome to Dr. Shankar KS, the esteemed conference chair for Rtimes 23. Dr. Shankar possesses a remarkable eye for detail and an innate ability to construct highly effective teams. It's under his skilled guidance and leadership that this conference has been a resounding success. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. And please allow me the privilege to extending another warm welcome to Dr. Lokesh V., the esteemed organizing secretary of Rtimes 23. Not only is Dr. Lokesh my cubicle neighbor, but for the last 2 months, I have witnessed firsthand his tireless efforts to ensure the resounding success of this international conference. Dr. Lokesh, we wholeheartedly welcome you. And if anybody knows the secret of surviving endless hours in a cubicle, Dr. Lokesh has mastered it. I would also love to welcome all HODs, external participants, faculty members, students and technical staff and the office staff. Welcome. I now request Dr. Raghavendra MJ, Department of Mechanical Engineering, to read the report of Rtimes 23.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's with immense pleasure that I presenting the conference report of Rtimes 2023. The International Conference on Research Trends in Mechanical Engineering Science 2023 was organized by Department of Mechanical, Aeronautical, Automobile and Marine Engineering in Srinivasan Institute of Technology. The conference was initiated in January 2023 with 6 members of Executive Committee from the 4 different engineering departments. The Executive Committee identified the subject's experts globally, took approval from their willingness supports for the conference, formed a technical committee along with the advisory board comprising of 15 members. The main aim of this conference was bring together leading accommodations, researchers, industrialists and students to exchange their experience and research outputs on all the aspects of mechanical engineering science. So it was also meant to provide the interdisciplinary platform to present and discuss the most recent innovation trends and concerns as well as the practical challenges encountered and solution adopted in the field of mechanical engineering science. The committee finalized the 5 themes that including materials and manufacturing, thermal science and fluid mechanics, automation, robotics and mechatronics, design engineering and industrial engineering and management. The conference preparation started with the call of abstracts. 80 abstracts were received, out of 65 were accepted. The next step was call of paper. Out of 65 papers submitted by the authors, 60 papers were accepted for an oral presentation. The first day of the conference started with an inaugural session with a welcome note and conference overview by Dr. Lokesh V, followed by the releasing of book of abstract, inaugurated by the chief guest Dr. G.C. Mohan Kumar. He is a Dean Faculty Welfare In-Charge Director, NITK, followed by a presidential remarks by Dr. Srinivasa Mayadi, Patron and Principal, Srinivasan Institute of Technology, Mangalore. The technical sessions was followed with the inaugural session. The main keynote address by Dr. G.C. Mohan Kumar. The 2-day international conference comprised of 8 technical sessions and 1 online session, some of them scheduled concurrently. The different theme consists of 9 sessions in order to accommodate the large number of participants. Each session had the chair and co-chair who are experts in the domain. The conference structure was discussed between the participants. The day 1, the technical session had 3 tracks. In the track 1, 10 papers were presented. In the track 2, 12 papers were presented. And the track 3, 11 papers were presented. In the online session, 9 papers were present and followed by second keynote address by Dr. Ahmad Shalil C. Professor from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Saudi Arabia. So day 2, the technical session consists of 2 tracks. The track 1, 6 papers and the track 2, 5 papers were presented and followed by a keynote address by Sri Venkat A. Bhatt. So we successfully completed our Rtimes 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I would now request the chief guest, Sri Venkat A. Bhatt, to please briefly address the gallery. You have given the keynote address. We would love to hear a feedback from you.
Educational institutions are temple of learnings, as I said. Dr. Maya will remember, you are a NIE student, right, Sharan? There was one more NIE student. As you are entering that main quadrangle, maintain silence in this temple of learning. So these temples of learning produce the best and the brightest engineers who are who create the next couple of decades of our country and the world. The world is a better place because of the contribution of engineers. If you look at any other profession, jokingly I say many times that, doctor is happy when there is disease and distress. A lawyer is happy when there is fighting and problem. Engineer is the one who really does the construction. So the critical role of the engineers in shaping the country, shaping the society, you are doing something that is required for everyday comfort of life. You are creating facilities that will stand today, that will stand for future, and that will stand, some of them stand for centuries. If you, as a mechanical engineer, if you put a complex system in place, or you, let us say you do something for the defense, the systems that you commission a system in place, that will stay for decades. So when you think in terms of your contribution to society, how you can be responsible, how I can be a responsible citizen, how I can innovate, how I can change, how I can be a cog in the wheel of development is something that has to come in the mind of every engineer. Is there some specific way that I am supposed to be speaking, because I did not prepare for this?
No problem, sir.
Okay.
Your honest feedback is always appreciated.
One very important thing, because of my age or something, that I have started saying is being positive. Being in the positive frame of mind is always very productive. Challenges would be there. There will be ups and downs. For example, yesterday I was speaking to somebody who said, I'm doing a good friend of mine, he's from somewhere from this area, he's running a sheet metal fabrication shop, and he was saying about his ups and downs and all that. I have met the people who have been very successful. Some of them have not been so successful. But the thing is, it is a journey. Every day is something new, something to cherish, something to keep as a memory. So when you approach life, or when you approach for your studies, be positive and think in terms of how I can be somebody who can contribute to the school, to the university, to the education, to the department, to the industry and all that. So if you really start thinking like that, there was a question about how you will learn other things when your curriculum is so stressed already. It is all creating time. A punctual person will do several things. There are people who do so many things in life because they are punctual. I'll tell you one more thing. See, being in one discipline of engineering is not prohibitive or should not stop thinking or absorbing knowledge from other places. I have seen a doctor. I went to a Intel office in a place called Beaverton near Portland, Oregon in USA. big office, Intel. Intel does all the chips and all that, we all know. We discussed about the chip making factory that is going to come up in Mysore. It is much bigger. They do not make chip, but they assemble all the, Nike does, Intel does the computers, right? So, there was a doctor who was working as a programmer there. So, it is the interest. So, once you have the interest, there are so many people who not only do their job well, they do several other things. There are, I'm sure in South Canara is known for second thing always. If you think in terms of a Bangalore or big cities, people are doing only one work. Here, you do agriculture at home, you do teaching in the school, you do, people in my age, I had to even sell milk from the home to the hotels while studying. So, you basically are doing multiple things. So, devote some energy to do things that are peripheral. I call this as peripheral knowledge. If you absorb some of the peripheral knowledge, you are much better, because it is when a person is going to be looking at hiring somebody, it is the aptitude, it is how you have the ability to solve a problem. Industry is not going to be looking at differential equations or something of the theoretical nature. They will have a problem. They will give a problem to you and say, I need this to be done. So, that is where your reasoning to analyze, ability to critical thinking on the problem and ability to solve the problem will come very handy. So, best of luck for everybody, and I wish I'm very thankful to the faculty, the principal, Dr. Maya, who is actually, we stayed together probably at least for 1 year or so in a hostel together. I thank Dr. Shankar, and I thank all the other faculty. I do not know everybody's name. Dr. Hegde I could meet earlier. Thank you so much. Thanks for the students, and best wishes to everybody. And it is a journey. Life is a journey.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful words of wisdom. I now request some of the participants present in the audience to please give their feedback on the Rtimes 23.
Good afternoon. I'd like to take up a moment and thank the faculty organizers for organizing this international conference. And this conference has given me the opportunity for which it has given me both to present and to attend great presentations. And this 2-day session has given me a wider spectrum of knowledge, and it has also helped me gain some evolving innovative ideas. I thank the organizing members once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sai. Any other participant who does? Yes, we do have.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, the faculty members and the students. Very good afternoon to all. Myself, Prashant Payam. I am representing Department of Mechanical Engineering, PA College of Engineering, Bangalore. This conference, I would like to share a few things about this conference. The first and foremost, this conference has provided an opportunity for the UG, PG students, research scholars and the faculty members to showcase their research work, and it has also opened new opportunities to carry out the new research works, initiate the new research work as well as to improve the existing works. Coming to when I saw the schedule of presentation, there were around 60 papers. which were covering the almost all areas of mechanical engineering, such as design, fabrication, then IC engines, the composites, then modeling and simulation, application of IoT, machine learning, etc. Most of the papers presented were from the UG students. So this has provided the UG students to convert their project work into a paper, how to present this how to present this paper in the conference, how to present a part of their work into a conference paper. So all these things, it has provided an opportunity to everybody. And one more thing is the keynote speakers. There were 3 keynote sessions. All 3 keynote sessions were very informative, and they covered 3 different thrust areas. I thank all the 3 keynote speakers. And coming to the coordination among the committee members, right from the sharing of brochures, then intimating the activities of the conference that were ongoing, then status of paper, then the formats or the payment registration details, or till the end of the presentation schedule. Everything was very good, very nicely they have done. And even the arrangements of food and the refreshments were very well taken care of. And one more important thing I would appreciate is the conference has not only allowed the participants to present their papers orally, but also provided an opportunity to publish it in a Web of Science journal. So nowadays universities make it mandatory for the researchers to present or publish. Mainly it is published in Scopus or the UGC Care or Web of Science journals. So in this way the conference has provided an opportunity for the researchers. So that's all from my side. I thank the chief patron, then conference chairs, organizing secretary, and the entire organizing team members for organizing this conference in a very beautiful way. I wish the institution will provide many more such platforms for the students, researchers, and the teaching fraternity in the days to come. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. We have one more.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monisha, and I am from Aeronautical Department. First of all, I would like to congratulate everyone for a success in Second International Conference on Rtimes 2023. And conference helped me to build an excellent relationship and network between my future project works and research. And in our yesterday sessions, Dr. G.C. Mohan Kumar sir had addressed about pyramid. So before that, I thought pyramid was just a structure. Then he told there is a lot of mathematical calculations behind that structure. So by this we can say that behind everything there is a science. So like CS, for example, CS department have to depend on mechanical departments, and mechanical departments need a help from CS department. The best example is a project work. So we have a combination of coding. We have done coding. We have done electrical circuits. We worked on pump systems. We have worked on drone. So it's a combination of all the departments. So I would like, at last I would like to thank everyone for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So if there is no one else, we'll go ahead. I would now request Dr. Lokesh V to announce the Best Paper Award for Rtimes 23.
The best paper out of all the presentation goes to Dr. Vignesh Nayak from AJIT College. The topic of the presentation is cyclic variation and combustion analysis of single cylinder CI engine with cadmium oil biodiesel. I call the student.
The student can come forward. Students can come forward and accept the award from the chief guest. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would now request the president of today's function, Dr. Srinivasa Mayadi, to present a memento to the chief guest, Dr. Sri Venkate Bhatt, President and CEO, VentureSoft Global Inc., as a token of our love. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you. Now, I would request the conference chair, Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, to please present a memento to our patron and principal, Dr. Srinivasa Mayati. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would request the chief guest to please present mementos to our session chairs. I would request Dr. Gangadhar Rao to please come up on stage and receive his memento from the chief guest. I would now request Professor Lokesh KS to please come up on stage and receive his memento. I would also request Professor Venkatesh Rao to please come up on stage and receive his memento. All the session chairs have done a wonderful job. Thank you, sirs. I would now request Dr. Rajesh Bhatt to please come on stage and receive his memento. I now request Professor Chandra Yogi to please come up on stage and receive his memento. I would also request Professor Nitin Joshua to please come up on stage and receive his memento. Rtimes 23 would not be possible without such wonderful session judges. I would request Professor Jairam Tumbe to please come up on stage and receive his memento. I would request Professor Sudhindra to please come up on stage and receive his memento. I'd request the wonderful Praveen Shenoy, Dr. Praveen Shenoy, to please come up on stage. The camera can be given to another faculty. And please receive the memento. Please do click Praveen sir's photo. I now request Dr. Raghavendra MJ to please come up on stage and receive his memento. And Professor Sandesh KS to please come up on stage and receive your memento too. Then we are, thank you to all the sessions. I now request our chief guest to please give a memento to the organizing secretary, Dr. Lokesh V. We have our two wonderful conference chairs. I now request our chief guest to please give a memento to the conference chair, Dr. Ramakrishna and Hegde. I would also request the chief guest to please give a memento to our esteemed conference chair, Dr. Shankar K.S. Thank you so much, sirs. Thank you so much. I now request the president of today's function, Dr. Srinivasa Mayadi, Principal Srinivasa Institute of Technology, to please address the gathering.
Good afternoon to all of you. Respected chief guest of today's function, Shri Venkat Ebat, Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde, Dr. Shankar K.S., Dr. Lokesh, my colleagues and dear participants. When the inaugural program, I told that what you carry forward, what you're learning with 2 days and how we're going to carry forward, that's very important. You are exposed to the different areas of mechanical engineering science as well as multidisciplinary approach, how it plays very important role in the research work. So whatever you do in your future work, deviate some time for the research, writing the papers and doing some experimental development of some new technologies by combining all disciplines. See that you are contributing for the research work so that ultimately benefit will be passed to the society. That's very important. So whatever you discussed last 2 days, think on that, and whichever you are interested area, carry that forward, see that you are improving on that areas. With this, I don't want to take much time. Sri Venkat Bhatt, he's already told that we are in the hostel mates in the same college. See that how he was successful by applying the multidisciplinary approach in his life. As a best example, he has given good talk to all of you. Keynote address he has spoken very well, as well as in the valedictory also he given some good advice to all of you. If you have a positive thinking, you can change anything. That's what he pressed to you, all of you. The same thing I also, every speech I say that be positive, think positive, act positive, automatically you are going to be successful in life. The same thing he also pressed in today's speech. Even he has not listened my speech earlier. Maybe first time I am addressing in front of him. Okay, but we have a contact from after a long time, maybe from last 3 years, 3.5 years, we have again contacted and we started discussing few things. And he have very great ideas as he presented or he spoken to one more conference in our Srinivas University. I was also there. That also he has given very good research ideas to the people. That day itself I felt that we also invite him to this our college. So when we contacted him, he readily agreed to give the keynote address, and he bide the time to come here and given the wonderful address to all of you. So we are very grateful to sir. Of course, any international conferences is not be possible within a few days. Our organizing committee has worked very well from last 8 months after the first international conference. They immediately started working on this with the guidance of Dr. Ramakrishna Hegde and Dr. Shankar. And I am very proud that today it was successful. Maybe from tomorrow onwards we can plan for the third international conference. So I would like to congratulate Dr. Shankar, Dr. Hegde and Dr. Lokesh to making this event is successful. Of course, without many number of papers, it is not possible. When we approach the different people, including our students community, they are readily accepted for giving the papers. Because this conference is successful because of the number of papers, as well as our hard work of our faculty members who are involved in all the activities of organizing this event. So that shows that our strength, we can do any type of conference and we can contribute to the society. With this, I would like to end my talk. Whatever you listened or you are observed from yesterday, please think on that. If you are found interested, please carry forward and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful words of wisdom. Gratitude is a quality similar to electricity. It must be produced and discharged and used up in order to exist at all. I now request Dr. Lokesh V, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Srinivas Institute of Technology, and the Organizing Secretary, Rtimes 23, to give the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. I am very humbled and honored to be one making the closing remarks and giving the vote of thanks in such a distinguished and intellectual stimulating gathering. And I am proud and privileged to stand before you to place on record the contribution of every noble heart towards the success of event. Firstly, my heartfelt thanks to management for giving me an opportunity to be a big part of Rtimes 2023. I extend my thanks, heartfelt thanks to today's chief guest and keynote speaker, Professor Venkat A. Bhatt, CEO, VentureSoft, California, USA. Thank you, sir. A special thanks to our esteemed principal, Dr. Srinivas Mayadi, for inspiring us to work hard and serving as pillars of strength. Thanks a lot, sir. A big thanks to my conference chairs, Dr. Ramakrishna N. Hegde and Dr. Shankar K.S., who are my driving forces, support, encouragement, and a part of the Rtimes 23 to be successful. Thank you very much, sir. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Yes, a special thanks to the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Thank you very much for all the organizing committee. I also thank all the principals of sister institutions, HODs and staff members of various departments for their support. I wish to express my gratitude to other keynote speakers, Dr. G.C. Mohan Kumar, NITK, Suratkal, and Ahmad Salil, King Khalid University, Saudi Arabia, who addressed the gathering, made the event graceful. My deep sense of appreciation for externals and internal participants for their presence and made the event successful. Thank you one and all. My warm thanks to all office staff, technical staff who have contributed their 2 days of busy schedule to the conference. Thank you. I thank all the session chairs for both external and internals. Because of their presence only, the sessions has held properly and successfully. Thank you, session chairs. I would like to acknowledge my gratitude to all esteemed sponsors, Hango Ice Creams, SBI, Suksagar Hospitality Services, Stylewares, Koinur Computer Zones, Radha Medicals and Raghavendra Xerox for their financial assistance and their services. Thank you. My sincere thanks to student volunteers, electricians, system admins, members of press and media, helpers for their support and helping in the organizing the conference. Thank you. I express my thanks to food committee and canteen peoples who were working in providing refreshments and food on time, helped to conduct the conference smoothly. Thank you. Once again, my graceful and very grateful thanks to all my organizing committees, including the program committee, especially Vivek sir and team, and session plan, Raghavendra sir and team, Book of Abstract, Sandesh sir and team, Mementos, Chandrajogi sir and team, Publicity Committee, Jairam Tumbe and Prakash sir, Hospitality, Praveen sir, Sponsorship, Nitin Joshua and Satya Prakash sir, worked really hard. Thank you very much. And Registration Committee, Mohammad Gosper sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us make this event a grand success. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. With this, we have come to the end of a very productive and intellectual Rtimes 23. Congratulations to all. I would now request Dr. Lekeshwi to please escort the dignitaries of the dais. Thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.